Now, I have always been very fascinated about Chinese-made laptops because for one, they are actually pretty affordable. Second, they are sometimes way better than those established brands laptops that we've seen out there. And last but not least, sometimes they do offer some surprising features for the price that they are selling. And this is one of it that I have right here. This is the Teclast F15s. This is a 15-inch laptop that is really well built, as you can see right here. This material that you're seeing here is not plastic, but instead it is made entirely out of aluminum, and it feels really good, and it feels premium to the touch. I'm Warren with KLGadgetTV, and I've spent about 2 weeks on this machine to find out how well it works for me as an entry-level productivity machine. Although the Teclast F15s is a really well-built laptop, as you can see, the specs of this laptop might leave you feel a little underwhelmed. Because for one, it is not powered by any Intel Core processor or even an Intel Pentium processor. This is powered by a really old and aging Intel Celeron N3350 Apollo Lake dual-core 2-thread processor, which means you're not going to get that snappy performance as you multitask and switching between apps, and you might experience a bit of lag while you're using the laptop. So be mindful that you are not going to use this laptop for multitasking if you're thinking to pick one up. Now let's just talk about the hardware of the laptop. Now, starting with the keyboard. Of course, you do find that this layout looks pretty similar to some other OEM laptops out there from Clevo or even Quanta. You know, the keyboard layout is pretty similar, and in terms of the tactile feel, it's not the best touch that you get out there, but it definitely gets the work done. So you can definitely type long emails on this because the keycaps are actually pretty big, and I've actually tried writing a piece of article on this thing, and it definitely works well for that purpose. The touchpad is really big as a MacBook Pro's touchpad, but sadly you can't press the touchpad on every corner. You can only press on the bottom left or the bottom right if you want to click on something. Not something that I like, but you know, for an affordable laptop, this is the trackpad that you're getting. But on the bright side, tracking performance is acceptable. It's not too bad. Now let's talk about ports. So on the left side here, you get a USB 3.0 port, a barrel plug port, and a mini HDMI port, which by all means, I do know why they are still offering a mini HDMI in today's laptops, because I would have preferred if Teclast has included a USB-C port. Now on the right side here, you get another full-size USB 3.0 port. Great, because not many other laptops offer both USB 3.0s. You get a micro SD card slot, and finally an audio jack. And that's pretty much that you get on this slim form factor. Well, speaking of slim, this thing is not exactly lightweight as well, because even though the body is actually slim on the bottom side here, what makes this laptop really heavy is the screen here. Now, this is not a touchscreen, by the way. It feels like one. It feels like as if you could touch the screen because of its flat corners here. This is a glass panel, which makes you feel that it is a touchscreen, but sadly, this is not a touchscreen. And this is the whole part that makes this entire laptop so heavy that it weighs 1.8 kilograms. Pretty heavy considering today's 15-inch laptop standards. Now, despite that, the display hinges are actually very solid, as you can definitely lift the screen up with one hand and not flipping over the laptop. So I would say that, you know, even though there's this weight balance feature here, it at least lets you lift the screen up with one hand without toppling over the entire laptop, just like some other cheaper laptops out there. Now, another thing that I really like about the Teclast F15s is the display that it includes. Now, most laptops under the price of 2,000 ringgit will usually include a 768p display, which is really bad by all means, and 6-bit colors, which looks crap. It's really just meant for documents, you know. But this laptop, it comes with a full HD resolution display that shows 8-bit colors, which is usually only available on laptops that is at least 3,000 ringgit and above. So this is something great if you're thinking to use this laptop to watch movies. I really like its colors, even though it's not the most accurate of all, but it actually looks great for a 1,500 ringgit laptop. Apart from the good display, another thing that I would like to commend on the F15s is the loudspeakers. Now, even though they do not sound as great as MacBook speakers or whatever, because that's the gold standard we have right there, I personally feel that it is actually better than some gaming laptops I've tested. At least the sound doesn't sound teeny or weak, you know, like some of those gaming laptops out there, it actually sounds decent for an entry-level laptop, which you can definitely use it for casual music streaming and some movie watching. It works great. Here's how it sounds like. And now let's talk about performance again. Now, I did mention that the Intel Celeron processor on this thing is really weak. I would really have just preferred if they just installed a Intel Gemini Celeron processor on it, because that's at least a quad-core processor. But if you're not a multitasker, it would actually work just fine for 1 or 2 browser tabs. I did in fact try about 7 or 8 browser tabs open at the same time and switching between them. There is a noticeable lag when you're doing that, but thankfully this laptop comes with 8GB of RAM, which is way better than some other entry-level laptops that comes with 4GB of RAM, which is totally unusable for today's standards. But there's just one thing bad as well, because even though it has 8GB of RAM, you can no longer expand it with an extra SODIMM slot because it doesn't have that available when you crack open the base. And really, don't try anything hard on this laptop because it just cannot take it, because it doesn't have any cooling fan to cool the processor as well. It's using a passive copper cooling on this thing, so if you're to run things like extremely lightweight stuff, even like lightweight video editing, this thing will not cut it. It will definitely throttle. So really, just use this laptop for your really casual productivity and entertainment activities. That will work. Now, most entry-level laptops do not have good battery life, as they usually max out at 3 to 4 hours. But the Teclast F15s exceeded my expectations on that, as I was able to get up to 5 hours of continuous use, which is amazing considering the fact that the processor is always at 100% all the time, and I'm opening about 7 to 8 browser tabs on Microsoft Edge. It still managed to get up to 5 hours of usage, which I'm actually pretty impressed by all means, because I assume that's because it doesn't have any moving parts inside, it uses SSD, and it doesn't have a cooling fan, which is why it's probably so power efficient. So I just happened to do a quick check on Lazada, and Teclast has in fact reduced the price of this laptop to 1,299 ringgit. So which makes it one of the most affordable 15-inch laptops that you can get with a full HD display. Do I recommend the Teclast F15s? Well, it really depends on what you're doing with this machine, because if you're a multitasker, definitely I would not recommend this machine at all to anyone out there who opens a lot of Chrome tabs, Edge tabs, or open a lot of applications out there, because the processor on this thing just can't handle it that well. But if you're someone looking for a really cheap laptop that has a good screen, good build quality, and just want to do some very normal and simple computing stuff, well, this is the laptop that you should get. 1,299 ringgit, which is about $300 US dollars, and I think it's definitely worth it for the features that you're getting inside here. So that's pretty much about my quick review and thoughts about the Teclast F15s. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and be sure to subscribe to KLGadgetTV for more videos coming right up, and I will see you in our next video.